Hey fam. So I know I said a while ago that I was ready to get back into making videos about writing and possibly still talking about books and fun stuff. And I would really love to. The problem is, in the last couple of months, I've sat down and tried to record things like that. I've tried to really spend more time focusing on my writing, as was my goal this year. But we are watching in real time as our nation falls to fascism. And it's happening very quickly, as these types of things tend to do. And it is absolutely horrifying. Um, so I don't really talk a whole lot about my personal background life stuff. I definitely haven't on a public platform, at least not in great depth. But I'm gonna be real with you for a minute here, so bear with me. I was raised in a cult. I was raised in a Christian fundamentalist Pentecostal cult, and um, there's a lot to unwrap there. And maybe I'll talk about these things as they come up because everything going on in the world right now just continuously throws me back into this headspace of what my childhood was like, or at least what I was told to expect at some point in my life. I grew up very heavily believing as a small child that the apocalypse was going to happen in my lifetime. Now, I'm not saying that what we are seeing is an apocalypse. I have a whole lot of other opinions about stuff like this. Trust me, this is stuff I've given a lot of thought and research to in my lifetime. Because, yeah, this is what I was raised believing. And this cult that I was raised in was also very heavily Republican, conservative, into politics to the point where when I was very small, I don't even remember how old I was, but I remember hearing that if Al Gore had won and we didn't get another Bush in office, then Al Gore was basically he was clearly the Antichrist, right? And was going to send us into this. This is typical stuff that you will see with any kind of Christian culty, whatever. They always have like a known time, like, because they're looking for signs, right? This is in the Bible. I've literally considered purchasing a Bible just to be able to point out certain verses to people because y'all, I got thoughts. We're seeing like this insane rise of Christian nationalism in this country, and I was actually raised. I realize now as an adult, though they did not call themselves this when I was a child, but I was raised as a Christian nationalist. The racism wasn't really a part of it. That I don't know. I think that's like maybe newer, or maybe it just depends from cult to cult what you're looking at. I have no idea, but I don't remember being raised with massive amounts of racism. We wanted to save all souls to go to heaven. Now, I know y'all might be wondering, why the hell am I talking about any of this? This channel has nothing to do with this. Well, here's the thing. One of the little factors of growing up in the cult I was raised in, there was a lot of talk of, from the time I was very small, of the Holocaust. Why? Because, one, never forget, but also, as opposed to being anti-Semitic, they were almost, I don't know really what the opposite, like what the word for the opposite of that would be, but the way I was raised was like the Jews were God's chosen people. So they were special, and we can see at any point in the history of the world that people have tried to wipe out the Jews, that this was basically the work of Satan. It was kind of, and we were watching for signs like this. This all has to do with stuff in Revelations. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. I'll spare you. But because of the Jews being put on this pedestal in the church that I was raised in, there was a lot of focus on the Holocaust because it was, rightly, I think in this one case, at least rightly seen as a great evil. And I remember the first time that I learned that the Holocaust was a thing that had happened, and we had watched a film about it in the church, and it horrified me so much to the point that, like, I'm 36, I have spent my entire life researching that time period in history, in particular the aspects that led to what ultimately became the Holocaust, right? All the steps leading up to it, because I have always wanted, I've had this morbid fascination. I just want to understand what happened to make that many people turn a blind eye or even participate in such horrific evil. And I have still, even with all the years of research that I have put into this, I still do not understand. And I keep thinking about this like every day lately, because I am now watching this same exact pattern of what happened in 1930s Germany. I'm now watching this unfold in my own country, one that I was raised to be incredibly patriotic. And I have not felt that level of patriotism for many, many years at this point. But I also never thought in a million years that I would see this country start taking the same exact steps. And not just this country, but like specifically the people that I was raised as. And I have not felt a part of that group for years. We left the cult when I was like 13, and I expanded outward. I wanted to know more. I wanted to know all kinds of other things. That's a whole other story. But I was raised to be Republican, conservative, Christian. And this kind of stuff that's going on right now, like it's mind-blowing to me that the same kinds of people who were so horrified by the actions of the Nazis in Germany and other fascist regimes around the world, okay, like the same people who would call that out as evil are now, it's like the same category of people in this country that have fallen into this fascist trap. And I am horrified watching all this unfold. We are seeing people be disappeared off the streets from their homes, and these are not criminals. And frankly, even if they were criminals, they deserve a trial at least, and not to be shipped off to concentration camps. We have our own concentration camp in Guantanamo. I know this was stuff that was going on in his first regime as well, but I think it's considerably more amped up this time, it seems like. He's even made a deal with the dictator down in El Salvador to send people down there to this massive prison complex. I'm sure you all have heard of this. So I am watching this happen in real time. And, all those years of studying what happened in Germany all those decades ago, I just can't stop thinking about it, because this is like this is Hitler's playbook. This is the dictator playbook. Everything we are watching, and I have 1,000,001 thoughts about it. And, my point with all of this is because of this particular aspect of my personal history, I made a promise to myself. If nothing else, I made a promise to myself as a very small child that if I ever saw somebody treating another human being in any way like that, I never thought I would live to see this going on, first off, but I wanted to be kind, I wanted to be compassionate, I wanted to help other people, I wanted to speak out for people who were losing their rights, losing their freedom. All these things that I was raised as an American, believing in freedom, and as a Christian, believing in the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I don't have to be Christian to be like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Why would I want to treat anybody else differently than how I would want to be treated? And I am mind blown that these types of individuals that I was raised as are now the ones on the evil side of history. Like, we're literally part of the evil axis of our times now because of this regime. I can't even call it an administration. This is not an administration. This is a regime. this is a coup, this is a fascist takeover. And so my whole point with this channel now is that I would love to be able to talk about fun things, but I can't. Writing for me is going to be my, like, when I can get it in, my healing time just for me to, like, keep me sane through all this insanity. But I made a promise that I would stand up for what is right and what I would want to be treated as. I would not just sit by and be complacent while this insanity happens. And I made this promise decades ago to myself before I ever had the thought that we could end up here. And then this last decade in particular has been kind of horrifying, and it is now full blown out in the open. We're in it now, y'all. And so I want to use the little bit of a platform that I have to try to share different information or ways to fight back against this as I come across them. I've been doing a lot of research for a hot minute now on how we exactly can fight back against this, and I have a lot of ideas, and I just want to spread as much information as possible because this is how we fight it. We have to come together, and I have a lot of thoughts, and if it, and I know this isn't what you signed up for. You subscribed because I was talking about writing, and maybe I occasionally still will, but it's probably going to be a little bit different for a minute. And I'm sorry, I didn't have this plan in mind either, but I can't use any kind of platform to promote entertainment. That's not my job, right? I was literally doing it for fun for myself, but I can't use my platform for anything other than fighting against this for a minute now. And if that means you don't want to follow, that's absolutely fine. That's, I'm sorry. But we need to come together right now. We need to fight this. There's literally nothing more important, because any other issue that does not fall into the category of, like, human rights right now, we are in dire straits, and any other issue, like, we can't get anything done until we get rid of this regime, until we fight back, until we take our democracy back. That's just a fact. And so yeah, that's that's the goal for a minute now. I have so much to say on all these topics. I also wanted to say, if you have questions on how you can fight back, or literally whatever, like, please ask me. Well, if it's something that I can answer, I will absolutely give you an answer. If I have no idea myself, then it's possible I haven't even thought of it, so your questions would be incredibly helpful. I want to have a back and forth. I want to be able to talk to each other about these things and help each other figure out how to organize and fight back, because we have to, because lives literally depend on it. This regime is eugenist in nature, and it is, we got to do this. We got to do this for each other, for all life based. And we're a very powerful nation. And if we swing to the bad side, that's bad for, like, the entire world. Okay, so we have to fight back. So yeah, if you're on board with all that, please stick around, and I will talk to you very soon.